Look, I might start not with Donald Trump. We do that so often, but with Joe Biden. He's updated his climate plan. $2 trillion he's tipping in, a big focus on renewable energy. I guess there's two parts to this. He's also got a global summit within 100 days on climate change. The first part, would this give real momentum again to action on climate change, push China perhaps, do you think, if he gets elected and this all happens?
Look, he's trying to ski between two different poles here. He's got to keep the progressive wing of his party happy, who are enamoured with Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal. This climate plan doesn't go as far as the Green New Deal, but it does pick up on some aspects of it. And he's also trying to demonstrate that he's fiscally responsible, that he's not going to trash the economy if he's elected. So he's trying to keep the moderate wing of his party happy. There's a number of aspects of this package which are very much designed to appeal to everyday voters. He's trying to paint it as an opportunity to build jobs, particularly around the funding that he wants to spend getting buildings up to speed. But it's going to be a tough sell for him. It will move the needle, though, if he's elected and it's implemented.
So this is about voter turnout for his own side, but not going too far to put off the middle ground, essentially. Does that land? I mean, if you promise to spend money, people are less concerned compared to if you promise other sort of, fundamental structural change of the economy.
Look, it's certainly going to be more popular for him than some sort of tax plan to bring together action on climate change. He's getting the message about as right as he can on this to keep his party together. It's had some good reactions from the progressive wing of his party. Donald Trump, of course, painted it as worse than Bernie Sanders, much more extreme, much more redistributive of wealth. But it's a reasonable plan, I think, for him to put forward.
Let's go to a pretty ugly spat between a senior trade advisor in the White House and Dr. Anthony Fauci. A lot of people will know Fauci. He's the infectious diseases expert for the US government, and he's been in this role for a long time. This is looking pretty unedifying.
It's pretty extraordinary. I mean, Fauci's been such a sober voice and such a trusted voice. Polling shows that nearly 70% of Americans trust what he has to say on the coronavirus. Almost the same number don't trust what the president has to say, about 65%. He's a very credible figure. Peter Navarro, one of the president's closest advisors, who has been particularly very strong in advising him on trade issues with China, publishes an op-ed in a major national US newspaper effectively denouncing Fauci and listing everything that he's done wrong. That came after a background document, a sort of opposition research document that was circulated amongst the White House press corps on Monday, detailing all the things Fauci said at the start of this crisis. Quite an extraordinary thing. The president was asked about it today and essentially said that he didn't support the criticism of Fauci, but he hasn't spoken to him in quite a while. So there is a bit of a rift there. But I think the president understands when Fauci's so popular with the American population, he can't just cut him loose like he has so many other people.
And that's the interesting part about it, isn't it? We just had some vision there of Donald Trump towering over Anthony Fauci, but he is a towering presence. He's been praised by Presidents Bush, Obama, the lot of them. And it's so telling that Donald Trump can't feel as though he can criticise this man. So rarely does Donald Trump bite his tongue.
Yeah, that's right. And, I think he has said that he thinks Fauci is a nice man. I don't think he sees Fauci as a Machiavellian character, someone trying to undermine him or someone he can't trust. He just doesn't always follow what the president says, particularly when he's making claims like drinking bleach or taking anti-malarial medication to fight against the coronavirus. And it may be that Fauci was the one who finally got the president to put on a mask this week. So it's a complex relationship, but you have to say Fauci is handling himself with strength and integrity.
Just finally on Donald Trump, the Hong Kong preferential treatment deal is over, also threatening to punish Chinese officials who undermine human rights in Hong Kong. Does this have implications for the Chinese Communist Party? Do they say, wow, there's a real cost to this transaction, or do they sort of plough on with Hong Kong unconcerned?
No, this will force a reaction from China. It will impact on the economy in Hong Kong. The president's hands were tied on this. He had a unanimous vote in Congress to get this bill through, make it an act. He had no choice but to sign it into law. And it calls for some reciprocal acts to acknowledge the fact that Hong Kong really isn't that special autonomous zone that it was before. It's now really just a part of China, and that's a concern. We are starting to see sanctions used on both sides. So China has now effectively said that Senators Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz can't enter the country. That was in response to another set of sanctions that the US put in on key party officials in Xinjiang. But we will see more of this, and it will certainly have an impact on Hong Kong. It forces a lot of businesses there to think seriously about whether they relocate.
James Brown, appreciate your time today. Thank you.